Okay, let's build a windshield. Well, I'm not going to build it, but we'll put it in. So if you follow my forum post, I'm very explicit on the forum post with this windshield. I list the steps and order of everything that we should be doing here, but I just thought I'd do a quick little video. You notice that I have left my side windows off. I do that. I kind of put those on last after I've gotten everything done up in the wing roots and everything, so I can reach back and forth. When I'm doing the windshield, it's a lot easier. You can reach back and forth. You don't have to put the side windows up and stuff, so it's just easier, I think. I did have the windows. I put them up in place. The front of the windows are going to go to just shy 1/8 of an inch of this line between the two A-pillows, and of course it comes down here. And what I did is set it in place, and I marked the bottom of the window across the Gerber mask. And this is just Gerber mask. I took this off of the interior panels. I haven't put those in yet. I do wait until I'm pretty much finished with the airplane and put fuel in it before I put the interior panels in. And the reason is that this fuel selector valve, they've got a big problems. This is my 5th airplane. 2 out of the 4 I finished. 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months later, the O-rings inside this thing started to seep. It's not really a leak, but it seeps, and it seeps down, and it goes down to here, and it sits on that stringer and collects right there. And then what happens is it goes over here, and then you'll start to see a little blue stain, or it'll bubble your paint on the outside, and it's a real pain. Then you got to patch it. It's very easy to fix to replace the O-rings in here. But in any case, you know, I did a full leak test with the balloons on here and left them up for a week or so, so I know there's no leaks. But this is not a leak. It's like a seep. I mean, it doesn't even drip. It just kind of seeps out of those O-rings that comes through the back. But in any case, I'll put fuel in here, and then I'll let the fuel sit here until I'm ready pretty much to go flying. And then I'll go ahead and put that panel in place. But I want to look at this and watch it the whole time. And I tell you what, as a matter of fact, it's so prevalent that on my last airplane, I went behind it and I put up some heavy duty plastic and put it all in place behind it and wrapped it down so that then it went across it overlapped the floorboard, because your panel is going up against that. You won't see it, but just let the plastic come down and overlap the floorboard. If it ever does seep, that way it won't do what I just showed you and go down onto that stringer and then go to your deal and get your paint. So that way, if it comes out, it'll come out. We'll bring it all the way to the edge, excuse me, of the floorboard, and then the panel goes over it. So what will happen is it would seep down onto the floorboard there, and you would see the blue stain would show up if any fuel is coming in. Okay, so I know that doesn't have anything to do with the windshield, but it just tells you why I don't have any interior panels in there. And so put fuel in it and just let it sit until you're ready to go, and then stick the panel in, make sure it isn't leaking. And I just do it with taking one of the little blue towels, you know, like this. And after I put fuel in it, I'll put one of these clean ones underneath that whole fuel selector, that whole fuel selector valve, and just let it sit there for a while, and you'll then be able to wipe it or feel and see a little blue stain if it is leaking. Okay, so back to that. So these came off of the interior panel. That's how we got off subject there. That's where I took this Gerber mask. It don't have to be pretty, just protect your paint job there a little bit. Like I tell you in the manual or in the forum post, we're not going to go the way the manual says. We're going to go more like the video does. So we're going to put the window liner up first and then fit the windshield to the liner instead of vice versa. The manual says put the windshield down and just make the liner fit the windshield. Well, what happens then is if you were to make this liner fit this windshield, what you're wanting to do, the bottom of the window is here, and that's what I've marked. When I put the window up here and held it in place, I just put a mark on this Gerber mask, and it showed me that was the bottom of the window. Then we take the window liner, and this is the lip, okay? So this is the edge of the boot cowl, cowl where the edge of the boot cowl where the cowl is going to overfit here. So this is the lip right here. So from the lip, go forward about 1.5 inches. That's that line right there. Set your window liner in place like this. Find the center of your window liner, put it in the center of your boot cowl, where the middle of that is, and then bring it around, and then get some clamps, and we're gonna clamp it right down so the bottom of the liner is gonna be flush with the bottom of that. So that way when you look later, the liner will meet up exactly to the bottom of your window and look nice. The window will end up coming over to here, you know, at an angle. And this, of course, is going to, right now, it'll overlap way out here. And then later, we're going to cut it. When we're done, we're going to cut it to match it, make it look nice. So we'll do that later. So once you put the window liner up there, okay, so we're going to put the front here. We're going to clamp the sides here, and just put a clamp over here and hold it so that you know that's going to end up lining it up. Make sure it's pushed down. You may need a couple of pieces of tape here up in the front part. Get it down flush. Then you're going to drill holes. You're going to come over here an inch from the center this way, and an inch from the center this way. Drill just a number 43 hole, or number 40 hole, I'm sorry, and just drill it down through there. And then every 2 inches all the way around. I think there's give you 14 holes. You're not going to drill these last 2 holes until later, well, until you're sure of where you're drilling, because this is very close to being at the top of the boot cowl right here. I'm not going to push the windshield out of the way to show you, but the top of the boot cowl right here. So what I do, you'll see I actually moved it down. It's supposed to have a 1/2 of an inch away from edge distance, and I actually brought it down just a hair to give me more room when I looked up underneath there and saw where the edge, which is right here. So I wanted to make sure I was going to go into the boot cowl with enough edge distance on the boot cowl. So anyway, put your window liner up, drill your number 43 holes, Cleco them as you go with the silver Clecos all the way around both sides, leaving the last 2. Then when you get done at the last 2, you come back and drill those, use a number 43 instead of a number 40, and just make a little mark on the grubber mats. Go through here, hit the grubber mats just to make a mark. Then later you take this off. That way you can look really good and make sure everything's clear both sides. Put something behind it to make sure you're not drilling into the wiring harnesses that, you know, are going down through here, if you recall, here and then back up through here. So that's what we're doing. If you put the next mark, they say is to come over here from the lip 1.5 and then 2 3/4, I think it was. And what I do is kind of ignore that, and basically about 3 inches is what works the best. And the way I come up with that is that if you see the windshield sitting here, what I did is I put the window liner up, made it match just like I said, drilled all the holes, Clecoed them all the way around. So now my holes are here, you can see. They're already in through the grubber mask into it with number 40s. Then I went back and I just stuck a Cleco here, and I stuck a Cleco over here on the side and another one on that side. Then I just sat the windshield in place, found the center of the windshield, which is right here, which on mine was 27.5 inches over. There's my math. 55 all the way around divided by 2 should be about 27.5 inches. So that gives me the middle of that, which will go in the middle of the boot cowl. Okay, so put that in there, and then I scooted it up to where this front was up against the front of this window liner. And you see the slope across here. There's a lot of slope here, so obviously it's going to be a lot further away. But look, when you come down here on the sides, you see how this windshield is pretty much straight in line with the window liner. So the window liner, you see how it's different here. If I put it on the edge, where it's going to go like that, so it's right straight down into it. So this can go almost straight down to it. But when you go to the front, if I push those forward, you know, then obviously there's a lot of angle. Put this over here, that up there. You can see there's a lot more angle, you know, to the window there. So we're going to push the window up there, and then I just leave it. You'll note that you'll probably have to trim a little bit around the lifting rings that are here. Just kind of center it up, you know, for now. But anyway, just kind of push the windshield up, get it up snug. You can see you can grab these sides and kind of pull it forward till it's kind of snugs up close to this. After you take the 2 side Clecos out, in other words, take this side Cleco out and that side Cleco, so you only have one Cleco here holding this in place, and then we're going to push the front windshield up just so you can see where it's going to go. That lets this loose, you know, like it is, so the windshield can move it forward. Then what will happen is when you move the window liner back out of the way, then you'll see that's where when I put my mark, that's where my windshield went up to, with my window liner in place, clear coat in place, pushing the windshield all the way up. You can see it's actually about 3 inches. I could have squeezed it another 1/4 of an inch, but I kind of doubt it. I had it pretty tight. So it's not that big of a deal, just because we're going to fit it, excuse me, in there in a minute. You're going to find it, the edges here, you'll see where the problems, you see the holes here. Here's the holes. Now the holes go under the windshield. They disappear. And then they pop back out here and they come around, okay? So you see how far the windshield is from the mark, from the actual drill holes, which is about 1.5 inches from there. So basically, you can do like I just did, put the liner up there and push it up, or you can just make your mark at 1.5, put the window shield up there and see how it sits. I'll walk around the other side and I'll show you how it is over here. And you can see it's about the same over here. So this is the area that's going to need to be cut the most. It's just on this edges right here. Okay, so that gets you up to this point. I'm not going to worry about anything on the sides right now. I'm not going to worry about anything on the top. This is all you're going to do at this point. Now I'm going to come back here in a minute. I'm just going to take a marker and I'm just going to mark this around here and get it up above these lines. Here it can stay pretty darn close because it's just fitting right down in that liner. So it probably needs no trimming here. And I'll probably start trimming it about right here and just kind of come up. But as I go up, you can see I'm going to go, when you get into more and more slope, then I'm going to go further away. So just cut a little bit. If you have to do it again, you have to do it again. But then that'll let us then come back and refit it, push it up there. We want it to eventually fit in there. So when this is cleco to the front, then, because you can see right now, if I have it up there, this is my last hole here, this is my last hole here. It won't go because it's being held up here. So when I cut this back, that's going to let this window liner sit back down flush. So you're going to cut and fit the windshield until you can get your window liner to line back up with the holes around here, and you can cleco them all back in again. And it should be, of course, a pretty nice flush fit against your window liner. Of course, later we're going to come back and put the tape underneath the window, the 2-sided tape on both sides, and shove it up in there when we do it permanently. But for now, that's all we're going to do and fit the windshield. So I'm going to do that and come back after we get this where it fits good. The next thing we're going to do is set it so the height is right, coming across from the wings up here, using the stick going all the way across the wings, so we make sure it's up flush or maybe even a little higher than the edges of the wings where it comes across there. Once we've got that, we're going to clamp it in place there, and then we're going to come back over here. We're going to mark this to cut on that center line and then back about 1/8. So, but we're not going to do that now. Let's fit the windshield first, and that way we're through moving it. We know it's good, and that's where it's going to be, and then we'll cut that. So I'll come back later after I do that, and we'll go over that.